November 2002, paper 2 combination question. This problem will cover a definite integration, as you see that. Then finding a x-intercept and y-intercept, as well as what derivative, and trigonometry also. So let's start with this one first concept. Maximum mark 18. The diagram below shows a sketch of the graph of the function y is equal to sine of e raised to x, where x will take a value from -1 to 2 inclusive, where x is in radians. Be careful about that when you have a calculator. Examiner, before exam, the calculator will be in the reset mode. Sometimes it will go in radian, sometimes it will go in degree. You have to be very careful when particularly it's a trigonometry questions. Right now they have clearly said that it's a radians, but sometimes they don't say that. Now here you can see x is in angle, x is in terms of angle, and if your angle not in terms of big number like 30, 45, 60, then it is always considered as a radian. For example, you can see here x value takes the value, x takes the value from -1 to +2. These are very small number because pi is in radians is basically 3.14. So 2 pi would be 6.28, minus 2 pi would be minus 6.28. So 2 pi is 360 degree, which is equal to 6.28. Pi is 3.14. So you can see this is basically radians. Even if this is not given, you have to understand this is in radians. The graph cuts the y-axis at A, that is y-intercept is A, and the x-axis at C and D, that means x-intercept is C and D. It has a maximum point B. Find the coordinates of A. A is your y-intercept, so x is equal to 0. Substitute y is equal to sine of e raised to x as e raised to 0. E raised to 0 is 1, sine of 1. As you know that your calculator has to be in radian mode, so you will get this value. Write down what you see on a calculator and then you round off to 3 significant figures. Right now they say coordinates of A, so you cannot terminate this problem by saying like this. Coordinates is always written in a bracket. Name that, label that A bracket 0 comma y, because 0, because A is a y-intercept, so x is 0 and y value is 0.841. After that is 4, so final answer is 0.841. Second, the coordinates of C may be written as ln of k comma 0. Find the exact value of k. You can see on the diagram, C is your x-intercept. X-intercept means y is equal to 0. So write down y is equal to 0 for C. 0 is equal to sine of e raised to x. Take sine on the other side, becomes sine inverse of 0. Now this is a calculator question, so you will directly get. But remember that sine is 0 only on the x-axis, which is 0 or pi or 2 pi or 3 pi or 4 pi and so on. So sine value will be 0 when it's multiple of pi, starting with n is equal to 0. So when n is 0, 0 into pi is 0. When n is 1, 1 into pi is 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi and so on. We are looking for the positive x-intercept, and that is the first positive x-intercept. Also C is not lying out the origin, that means C cannot be, sine inverse of 0 cannot be 0. It is first value, positive value of sine value is 0 when it's a pi. So e raised to x is equal to pi. E raised to x is equal to pi. X is the exponent of e. That means we have to use logarithmic rule. For the logarithmic rule, you know this is the formula SL 1.5. A raised to x is equal to b. So exponent will come down on the same side, equal to as it is. Other side will get a log of b. And whose exponent is this, a, goes in the base. Same rule, x, that is the exponent, comes on the same side, equal to as it is. Other side will get a log of pi, and whose exponent is this, e, goes in the base, that is log of pi to the base e. But log to the base e is always called as a ln, so ln of pi. Do not find out this because you have to write down in the same format. So ln k is ln pi, k value is pi. You don't find out pi value decimal because they want exact. Exact means without decimal. Write down the y coordinate of b. This is very straightforward. You know the equation, you know the domain. Type this equation in a graph locate the maximum point, but I want on the y value and they just want write down. That means no need of working. If you locate the y value of maximum point, it is 1, write down y is equal to 1. Find dy by dx. You know y is equal to sine of e raised to x. This is not multiplication. This is sine as an angle of e raised to x. So if I want to take a derivative, I need to use a chain rule. I'm not using a chain rule because they are not asking that. So to take a derivative of actual x, you have to take a derivative of e raised to x. To take a e raised to x, you have to start with sine. So sine derivative, first you take a sine, that is outside function derivative. Sine derivative is cos. So write down cos of e raised to x times, because we have to take the derivative of e raised to x. E raised to x derivative is d by dx of e raised to x. E raised to x derivative, in the formula booklet it is given e raised to x derivative is e raised to x time cos of e raised to x. Now do not multiply e raised to x this. This is a multiplier, so it should be written always in the front of cos. So e raised to x into cos of e raised to x, that is the final answer. Also we have to take a derivative of x, but x derivative is 1, so we are not writing that. Third thing, hence show that at b x is equal to ln pi by 2. What is b? If you will see the diagram, it is a maximum point. Maximum point means what? Slope at that point b is 0, because tangent at b is exactly horizontal. Horizontal line slope is 0. So that is why we are taking single derivative is equal to 0. That is why e raised to x into cos of e raised to x is equal to 0. You can see here product of e raised to x and cos of e raised to x is equal to 0. That means one of the term has to be 0. So I am taking e raised to x is equal to 0, which is not possible because x, if I'll simplify this, it becomes ln of 0 or log of 0 to the base e. And log of 0 to the base e or ln of 0 does not exist. So right now we have only one option, cos of e raised to x. Keep e raised to x, take cos on the other side. Cos value will be 0. Cos is 0 only on the y-axis. Y-axis first answer is pi by 2. Second answer is 3 pi by 2. We are using a radians. Now look at this b. B is the first maximum point on the positive x-axis. That is why we have to consider only positive first, that is pi by 2. 3 pi by 2 will also come, but if there is another point after b. So right now we don't see any other maximum or minimum point, so our answer is pi by 2. So e raised to x as it is, cos inverse of 0 is pi by 2. Again you use e raised to x is equal to pi by 2. That means x will, that is exponent will come down on the same side, equal to as it is log of pi by 2 to the base e. Log of pi by 2 to the base e, log to the base e is ln of pi by 2. This is the answer we are expecting. We showed that. Next part, write down the integral which represents the shaded area. So area of the shaded region, you can see the shaded area starting from 0, so lower limit is 0, ending at c, and c has x value is ln pi, not pi, ln pi. So I'm using area of the shaded region, lower limit is 0, upper limit is ln pi, and your function equation, that is sine of e raised to x dx. Now they say evaluate this integral. Now we are allowed to use a calculator, so you just type this equation on your calculator. Make sure that your calculator is in the radian mode. You will get this answer. Write down this answer, and then you finally round up this answer. 0.9 is the first, 0 is the second, 5 is third, 8 is more than 4. Add 1, so 0.906 is your final answer. Copy the above diagram into your answer booklet. There is no need to copy the shading. On your diagram, sketch the curve y is equal to x cube. So first you type your original equation sine of e raised to x as it is, and then in y2 type y is equal to x cube. When you will type y is equal to x cube with the same lower limit, that is -1 and up to what 3, you will see the graph like this. Connect that, label that. This is what your first part. The two graphs intersect at the point P. So you can see they are intersecting at this position. Find the x coordinate of P. So x coordinate of P, by using a trace and intersect option, you will see that x value is 0.87656. If I round first, you will write down as it is what you see on the calculator, and then you round up to three significant figure, that is 0 as it is. 0.876, after that is 5, add 1, so 0.877 is your final answer. Thank you.